Hey guys, it's Spycat, and I did a video yesterday where I had the movie The Mask, and it made me want to go in my collection and gather up all the movies about people that might have like a certain disability. They might be mentally handicapped, or they might have been born with a some kind of thing that enables them to kind of function right in society and in public and stuff. So this will be a collection of those type of movies, movies like Forrest Gump, movies like Radio, um, movies like I Am Sam, and a whole bunch more, but along those ends. So let's get started, guys. Alright, guys, the first movie I have is Door to Door with William H. Macy. This is a really good movie about this guy who was born with cerebral palsy, and he has a hard time kind of getting around in life. And even though he was born with cerebral palsy, he manages to keep his job. He's a sales guy. He goes door to door trying to sell things to people, even though he has a real bad speech problem. He can't really talk right. He gets the door slammed in his face like 8 out of 10 times. It's just, it's a great, inspiring movie. So that's why this has to go in my collection, too. Next movie I have, guys, is The Man Without a Face, Mel Gibson movie about Mel Gibson basically plays the part of this man that was born with half of his face kind of deformed. It's kind of like almost like the Mask movie. His face just looks really like burnt or something, and he lives in this secluded house to himself. He's real reserved, and till he forms this bond with this kid who wants to go over there because he's a teacher. I think he teaches him to be a writer or something like that. So they build a good friendship and stuff, and he kind of breaks Mel Gibson out of his shell, the young kid, and really good movie. So have to add that to this pile. Next movie I have, guys, is Of Mice and Men. Gary Sinise, John Malkovich. This was the old John Steinbeck novel made into a movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. I have the black and white version. I have this version. And just a really great movie. And this movie is basically about John Malkovich plays the character of Lenny, who's he's just kind of mentally handicapped. He's not all there. He, gets himself into a lot of trouble. And that's pretty much what this is about. They're on the run from when Lenny, got himself in trouble for, I guess, messing with a woman or something. He plays too rough with them, and it's a great movie, though, Of Mice and Men. Next movie I have, guys, is I Am Sam. Sean Penn, Michelle Pfeiffer, really great movie. Really sad ending. This doesn't have a good ending from what I remember. And basically, he has a daughter. He's mentally challenged. The mother can't take care of the daughter, so the mother leaves the daughter with Sean Penn. And by the time the daughter gets about 10 years old, they start to realize that she has the same intelligent level as the father, so they try to take the little girl away from her only blood, Sean Penn, and it's a really sad movie. Michelle Pfeiffer plays the lawyer, trying to fight for his character to have the daughter back, and doesn't have a good ending, I'll just say that. Next movie I have is Burt Lancaster's A Child Is Waiting. This movie is a really good movie. I collect any movie with Burt Lancaster. He's my number one favorite actor. I have to have every movie of him. Same with Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau. I just like those three people, I guess. But Burt Lancaster's A Child Is Waiting. It also have Judy Garland in it. A really great movie. I'm glad that this finally came out on Blu-ray. It's about this institution where parents kind of had enough with their kids. They have learning disabilities. They throw temper tantrums, and they're just crazy kids, kind of the way that I was when I was a kid. And so they're in this institution. The parents gave up on them, and nobody really takes time to give the kids the right love and attention. And the president or the principal of the institution, Burt Lancaster, is the only person that kind of sees a liking to this kid, and it's a really good movie, really good message to it. Next movie I have is Awakenings, guys. Robert De Niro, Robin Williams. Great movie about a group of people that are in this hospital. They have this rare disease that doesn't let them do anything. They're like kind of brain dead, and they can't even really move their muscles or anything. And it's a great movie. Robin Williams plays the doctor. He gets this experimental drug, and he calls it like Awakenings, because when they get this drug, Robert De Niro's character just breaks out of his shell. His brain's functioning great. He can do work. He's learning to read and write and just be normal. And then since it was an experimental drug, they have to cut the drug off. And that's why this movie's kind of sad. Has a sad ending for sure. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. I'm just throwing in a comedy right now. Because this is the same kind of along those lines. Richard Pryor plays a blind guy, and Gene Wilder plays the deaf guy, and together it's just one of the all-time comedies about people that are, born with a handicap or a mental disability of some sort, and they kind of overcome it. Great comedy movie. Alright guys, the next movie I have is The Vow with Channing Tatum. I like this movie. This is a really good movie. It's kind of a chick flick, but it's a great movie, inspired by true events. Channing Tatum plays the character. These two are a couple, and he plays the character of the boyfriend who loves this girl tremendously. And basically, they go on a trip, and she has an accident, and she hits her head or something, and she gets a really bad case of amnesia, where she just forgets everything, doesn't know who her own fiancé is, doesn't even remember him, and despite that, she is suffering from amnesia. He basically does everything he can to try to get her to remember who he is. So they basically have to start all over again, and she doesn't even know who the hell this guy is. So it's a great movie, though. I like this movie. And it's, she's overcoming having, getting whacked over the head or whatever. But anyway, guys, next movie I have is Rain Man. Another movie about Dustin Hoffman plays a character of the guy with autism. I think one of the parents die or something, and they inherit all this money, but he has to get him to sign some papers to get the money, and he finds out that he's autistic, or he knew that he was autistic because Tom Cruise picks him up in the institution that he's in. And, he's autistic, so he has these weird fits and temper tantrums where he's just going crazy, and he can't really function in society, Dustin Hoffman's character. So Tom Cruise takes him out of the institution, and, Tom Cruise is just kind of, an a-hole in this movie, and he just wants his brother to get him to sign the papers so he can get money and stuff. He even uses the poor guy to go play poker and win him money, because he's autistic people are really smart in one area. They excel great, and then the rest of their life and stuff is they're kind of they can't really function in society and stuff. But really great movie. Have to add that to this. Next movie I have is The Other Sister. Great movie, Diane Keaton, Juliette Lewis. They play two people that are mentally handicapped, who fall in love, and despite being mentally handicapped, they find love, and that's kind of rare, for the mentally handicapped. And this is a really great movie. I love this movie. Next movie I have is Radio. Cuba Gooding Jr. plays the, I think, janitor, or he's he cleans the field and stuff, and he's always watching these guys play football, and he's really mentally handicapped, and everyone's calling him retarded and all kinds of names. They make fun of him. He can't really even speak right, but he's interested in football, and one day someone discovers him, the coach discovers him, and he realizes that he is this star football player, and he excels in football, blows all his teammates that were making fun of him off the map, and it's just a really inspiring, great movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris. Next movie I have is Simon Birch. This movie is a great movie. It has a kid that he was Robin Williams' kid in Hook, and he was also in What About Bob, and a couple other movies. I can't remember what. But it has Oliver Platt from Lake Placid, a couple other movies. I don't really have many movies from Oliver Platt, but this movie's a great movie. This kid's basically he's born with this thing where everyone's basically like they don't even know how he's even alive, and even though he could die at any minute or something, any day, he kind of proves everyone wrong, and he's just, he was born with this really rare disability, and he, still manages to be loving, and these two build a relationship, great friendship, and I remember he likes playing baseball a lot. That's what I remember about this movie. But a really good movie to add to this pile. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Leonardo DiCaprio plays a mentally handicapped brother of Johnny Depp. They're in this like little small country in the middle of nowhere, pretty much, and nothing really happens there. Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio's mother is this lady who has an eating disorder, and she just lays in bed and eats. And it's a really great movie, great message. It even has Juliette Lewis, we just saw was in The Other Sister. But this is a great movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, all these movies are. They're in my collection. And this is a really cool section of movies to talk about, you know what I mean? Because nobody ever does this. I haven't seen anyone do this, so this is kind of cool that I'm doing this. Next movie I have is, I threw in the second comedy to this thing, The Ringer, Johnny Knoxville. He basically cons the Special Olympics, pretends that he's has Down syndrome and is mentally challenged and stuff, and to win this money prize in the Special Olympics, and he ends up kind of caring about all these people, and he got a really bad rep for making this movie because they said that he was making fun of these people, and this guy got famous from this movie, and now he's in tons of movies, and a couple other of these guys also did too, so that was kind of cool. I like this movie. I don't know why they gave him such a bad rap for it, but this is a great movie, one of my favorite comedies about people with Down syndrome. Or not Down syndrome, I'm hella tripping. They're mentally challenged. Oh man, I sound like an idiot right there. But no, I have a movie about someone with Down syndrome. I'm going to get to that one. But this is mentally challenged, Down syndrome. Or no, it is kind of Down syndrome, I guess. You guys know what I mean. Alright guys, next movie I have is Stanley and Iris. This movie is about Robert De Niro. He plays a guy who can't read, and he falls in love with his teacher who teaches him how to read. So it's a really good movie. Had to add that to this because Robert De Niro plays a great role in this, of the guy who's kind of born with this disability, learning disability. So great movie about a kind of a romantic drama, if I remember correctly. House of D with Robin Williams. I love this movie. Robin Williams plays the part of the janitor who kind of is mentally challenged. He's not really all there. He can't really learn that good. But he builds this bond with David Duchovny's son. So that's kind of cool. It's a really good-hearted movie. I also got... Oh, this is the movie I was talking about with the kid that has Down syndrome. Yeah, so The Ringer is about kids with Down syndrome. I'm tripping. I mean, it's Down syndrome and mentally handicapped. It used to be mentally challenged, but I guess I'm not up on the new words now. That doesn't, I don't know. But I guess it was mentally challenged. Now they want to be called mentally handicapped, I guess. But I don't want to, these people are hella cool, man. I have hella friends that are like that, and they're cool. But Any Day Now is a really good movie. It's a really sad movie, if I remember. It's about this couple. They adopt a kid with Down syndrome, and they give the couple a hard time because nobody loves this kid. The mother's on drugs. She treats him like crap, kind of even hits him and stuff. And these two he lives in the apartment, and he meets the kid, and he builds a relationship with him, and he's treats him like a really, like a friend and stuff. And it's a great movie. And then he winds up trying to adopt him. He pretends, I think, or maybe they don't pretend. They start to pretend that they're a couple so they can adopt it, because he's the one that builds the relationship with the kid and everything. And this movie has the saddest ending of any movie in history. And I think this is a great movie. And great movie. Really sad ending, though. I don't want to ruin it, but really messed up movie. Of Mice and Men, and not messed up like messed up like the ending is just not it's a really sad ending. Same with the Mice and Men, another movie with a real sad ending. I don't want to ruin that, but this is a movie about George and Lenny. Lenny always gets in trouble. They're always on the run because Lenny's always getting into trouble because he's mentally challenged, and he's a big guy, and he always ends up like hurting someone or an animal or something like that. And from John Steinbeck, he wrote the book of Mice and Men. Favorite movie of all time. I even have the 1939 old school DVD in my collection too. And the next movie I have, guys, is My Private Idaho. This movie is about River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Plays... They're two people that are kind of runaways. They're drug addicts. They have to live on the street and kind of... I think they're turning tricks or something. I don't really remember, but I just remember that River Phoenix has, he killed this role in this movie. This is one of his best movies, and he plays a guy with narcolepsy. So he's all of a sudden he's awake, and then he falls back, and he goes to sleep for hours not knowing it. Really dangerous thing to have. But it's a great movie. And this is the Criterion Collection edition that's worth a little bit of money. And really good edition, has a whole book in here and everything, so it's really cool. Last movie I have, guys, is Forrest Gump. Everyone remembers this movie. Won 6 Academy Awards. Gary Sinise is in here. Tom Hanks plays Forrest Gump. And we all know Forrest Gump. This is a 2-disc edition. Just a great movie about a guy who, is kind of born different. And he proves to be like a hero, the great American hero, pretty much. And really great movie. I'm glad I have this in my collection. And for the last thing I'll do, I'll go and walk and I'll find my Of Mice and Men original 1939 first movie that was released, because I love that movie. Let me go grab that. Alright, guys, and this being my favorite movie of all time is the whole story, the whole movies of Mice and Men. I saw this in school, and it blew my mind. However, the way that they wrote this movie is the kind of movie that you can watch over and over again. There's a few movies that are like that. They write them exactly the perfect way where you can watch them over and over again. You never get sick of them. This movie's like that, and Groundhog Day is like that too. You can watch that movie tons of times. Your brain just never will ever get sick of it. And I don't know, it's a real trippy thing. Kind of cool. But this is the original Of Mice and Men. I'm pretty sure this version's out of print. And the original is pretty good, even though I love the 1993 one that came out with John Malkovich and Gary Sinise. But I like them all. And I have 3 versions of Mice and Men. I have the special edition one. I have the other one. And the DVDs of Mice and Men are all out of print. So that's kind of cool. I'm getting hella cottonmouth. I've been talking for 20 minutes on this thing. But anyway, guys, I hope you like this video of my movies about people that are mentally challenged, that have mental disabilities, and they have to overcome it. And some of these movies are funny. Some of these movies are sad as hell. And some of these movies are just drama and radio-type movies. Well, you saw the dang movies, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I hope you like this video. The next video I'm going to do is going to be kind of a special thing on cancer. Movies about people that get cancer, and they don't have much longer to live. And some of these movies are sad. Some of these movies will be even comedy movies, like The Bucket List is about like cancer. Stepmom's about cancer. Here, guys, I have a couple movies. I'll just give you a preview of my movies that I'm going to do my next video of people that are born with cancer and stuff. Like The Doctor. Great movie. This guy is a doctor who gets cancer. Really sad movie. Movies like Stepmom, guys, you know what I mean? This is a great movie about a lady who ends up getting cancer, and really sad movie. But I'll talk about those on the next video. Anyway, guys, that's it. I got a split. This is my first time actually. I did this video like an hour ago, and I looked at it, and it wasn't that good. And I rambled on, kind of like I'm doing now, but that one was like 30 minutes or 32 minutes or something like that. And this one's only 21 minutes, so it's the first time I'm doing a second draft too. I usually just wing it, but I didn't like the way that I did the last one. So hope you guys like this video, and the next video is going to be my pile of movies about people with cancer and stuff. So hopefully, I'll see you again, guys, and, or yeah, I will see you again, because I just said I'm gonna, yeah, okay. That's it, guys. I'm tired. But, see you guys next time. Guys, it's Spy Cat, and on my last video, I did a pile of movies focused on, people that were, either mentally challenged or, had a disability, but they kind of overcame that. So, I'm focusing now on my drama section of movies, and, this is a big pile of movies right here, focused on movies about cancer, movies about like maybe they need a heart transplant like John Q, movies where they're, they don't have much longer to live. And it's, most of these movies, the condition is like life-threatening or stuff like that. So hopefully you guys like these movies, and hopefully it gets in your head to be like, oh, that movie's about cancer, or that and that, and you can kind of pass these movies on to people. So let's get started, guys. Well, John Q, guys. John Q's a movie with Denzel Washington where his son has this rare case and something, and he needs like a heart transplant, and he can't afford it. They won't give him insurance. So he kind of takes the hospital hostage and demands that they give his son a heart transplant. One of my favorite movies of all time, too. A great thriller drama movie. I also have Jack. Jack's a movie with Robin Williams where he was born with this rare case of something where he grows like really fast. Kind of reminds me of that Benjamin Bratt movie, but I don't like Brad Pitt, so Benjamin Button, Benjamin Bratt, that's funny. But Jack's basically about Robin Williams. He has something where he grows like really fast, and he's only like 12 years old, but he's already aged like he's like 50 years old and stuff. So it's a really sad movie, but it is kind of like a comedy drama movie. And I remember I saw this in the theater, but a really good movie. Next movie I have, guys, is Tuesdays with Morrie, based on from the best-selling book. Has one of my favorite actors of all time in it, Jack Lemmon. This movie right here is about a guy who finds out that he has cancer, and he's dying. Jack Lemmon's character. And I think this was like a TV movie before it was like, I don't think this was in the theater. It was kind of a TV movie, if I'm not mistaken. But a really good movie. I have to have every Jack Lemmon movie in my collection, and this is a good one. Next movie I have, guys, is kind of like it's kind of has a Christian feel to it. This movie is called Letters to God, and it's about this little kid, I think, who has cancer, and it's a really, really sad movie. But You know, he's writing letters to every day for God to heal him and everything because he has cancer, this kid, and he loves soccer. It's a really good movie. I didn't see it in a while, but I remember it's really sad, you know. All these movies are sad. They're about cancer, guys. Next movie I have, guys, is Silkwood. This movie's pretty good. It has Kurt Russell in it. It has Cher in it. It has Meryl Streep. All-star cast. They work at a nuclear plant, and let's see, I forgot what it's called. I think it's sorry about that, guys. I had to think about that. They work at a power plant, and this is one of my favorite movies. I've seen this tons of times. I just didn't remember exactly what it was. They work at a power plant, and they get exposed to this plutonium poisoning or something like that, and it basically is like really. I think it's like a high form of like cancer. It gives them cancer really fast. They they try to sue the nuclear power plant because they're exposed to this stuff, and their body's going through all these changes, and their skin is all messed up, and it's a really sad movie. Really great movie, though, on the acting wise, too. And I have the Anchor Bay one right here. Or no, I have the MGM version and the Anchor Bay one that's out of print that's worth some money. So, good movie. I love Silkwood. Next movie I have, guys, is Lorenzo's Oil. Lorenzo's Oil, guys. Susan Sarandon and Nick Nolte play the parents of a kid that's has this rare, like, terminal disease or something. And it's a really good movie, another sad movie, because, you know, the poor kid has, like, this rare terminal disease. Haven't seen this in a while, though, but I remember it's, like, early, 92. Good movie, though. This is a good one. I love her as an actress. I try to collect every movie with Susan Sarandon. Nick Nolte's good, too. This one's actually kind of a comedy drama. The Bucket List. This movie's about these two guys that find themselves in the same hospital, and he doesn't really have money, but Jack Nicholson is a real rich guy, and basically the doctor gives him like months to live because they have some cancer or something, and he makes a bucket list, and he meets Morgan Freeman, and they become like really good friends, and he basically says, whatever you can think of before we die, we're going to do it. I have the money. Money's no problem. And it's just a good, funny movie, but still has a sad ending because they both have like cancer and they don't have long to live. So good, funny movie with a dramatic comedy, a comedy drama comedy. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about. And next movie I have, guys, is Miracle of Cards. Great movie. This movie's with Kirk Cameron, and basically this kid has like, I think, cancer. Oh no, he has a brain tumor, and Kirk Cameron is the reporter, and they're basically, everyone's praying for this kid. Everyone's writing cards to this kid to, you know, get healed by God and everything. And I'm not going to ruin the movie, but it's a really good movie. And Kirk Cameron's great in it. This is one of his first movies when he like left the whole Hollywood thing and went all Christian, and he only does Christian movies now, or movies with a like Christian message, you know. Next movie I have, guys, is Stepmom, Julia Roberts. Another Susan Sarandon movie. One of my favorite movies. I've watched this so many times. Saw this when I was 15 as like a classroom movie. So that was kind of cool. I love this movie. This movie's about Susan Sarandon and Ed Harris basically are on the verge of getting a divorce, and then Ed Harris falls in love with Julia Roberts, who's like really young, and while all this crap is going on, she gets diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's like on top of everything, it's a really, really messed up, sad movie, but a great acting-wise and everything. The next movie I have, guys, is The Doctor with William Hurt, an old 1990 movie, or 91 or something. This came out when Dances with Wolves came out, and I remember I would watch this. This would come on right after Dances with Wolves on Showtime, and I'd watch them like back to back, even when I was so young. But this is a really good movie about a doctor who treats people with cancer, I think, until he finds out himself that he himself has cancer. So it's a really sad movie. Great cast in it, though, and it's even got that little kid from What About Bob and Hook plays the son. But it's a really sad movie. Great movie, though, with William Hurt. Next movie I have is, it's not specifically on, like, somebody with cancer, but if I remember, Medicine Man is Sean Connery, and they're going in the jungles to look for a cure for cancer. Looking for this one plant that could have the cure for cancer. So really good movie. This is my dad's favorite movie too. And the next movie I have, guys, is Life as a House. This is a great movie with Kevin Kline and these other people who I don't really know any of them, but whatever. Life as a House, guys. And this movie is about Kevin Kline plays the dad who finds out that he doesn't have much long to live. He has cancer, so he goes and tries to tear down his old house and build a new house, trying to patch up the relationship with his son, I think. And it's a really good movie. I like this movie, but I kind of forgot exactly how it goes. Next movie I have, guys, is My Giant. I knew that was going to happen. All those damn movies just spilled. All good, guys. That's what happens. As you can see, they're all over the place. As long as the snapback... Yeah, good. It's not shaking where it's broken, so all those other ones are fine, too. Anyway, guys, My Giant. This is kind of a comedy drama, too, but it's more along the lines of a drama. Really sad movie. My Giant's about this one guy who was born really tall, and he doesn't have much long to live because everyone's amazed that he's, like, still living and stuff. I gotta get some light, guys. Hold on. Alright, guys, I got some light on there. That's a little bit better. But anyway, guys, My Giant's a really good movie with Billy Crystal. I collect every movie that Billy Crystal has. He's just one of my favorite actors, too. He just has his own style, and I love City Slickers. And this movie is a really good movie. Kind of sad. Billy Crystal is a acting agent, I think, who discovers he's a basketball player with a rare condition, and really sad movie what ends up happening, though. But really good movie, though. They become friends and everything. You know, he basically cast him in his movies, a couple movies, before he starts getting worse with his condition, the tall basketball player. And I think this is what is a real basketball player, but I don't really follow basketball that much, but I think it is. Next movie I have, guys, is Pay It Forward. I don't remember much about this movie, but I could have sworn that he has, like, cancer or something like that, or some condition, and Helen Hunt's the mother, and it's a great movie, though. I like this movie a lot. Helen Hunt's great. I try to collect every movie with Helen Hunt. And this guy didn't make too many movies. He I think the last movie he made was that, like, weird one, but I forgot the name. But he was in The Sixth Sense and everything like that. But Pay It Forward, if you guys want to read what it's about, you can just pause it, because I don't really remember. But I think it's about a kid that I think has cancer or something. I might be mistaken. He was born with something. And this is where it all started, guys, when I did my random pickups, and I wanted to do all my movies about people overcoming disabilities and stuff, and I did that one yesterday. I think this one should go in the cancer, born with a rare condition that's kind of life-threatening and stuff. So I was going to put this in my mentally handicapped, but this kid was a normal kid. He just has that rare tumor condition that ends up making it so he doesn't have much long to live. And it's a really sad movie. Cher and Sam Elliott do an great job on the acting in this movie too, and really good movie though. It's cool because he kind of gets a girlfriend and everything. Great movie though. All right, guys. The next movie I have is The Powder. This movie, he doesn't really die, or he's just really different, and he has this rare condition where he's albino. He's just white. He doesn't grow any hair. He can't be around light. He's really light sensitive, but he has this crazy like power from like God or something, or it's really a trippy movie, and this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie, Powder. But it seems like this should go in this pile of movies that I'm doing. And I have about 8 movies left, or 7 movies left, and the rest of my movies are focused on HIV. So I don't know how I have these movies, but they were good movies to me, I guess. And they're good teaching movies about HIV and everything. Like The Cure. This was the first movie about AIDS that I remember, and this is based on a true story about this kid who gets a blood transfusion when he's a kid, and he ends up getting AIDS that way. So he gets really screwed over, and he builds a relationship with this troublemaking neighbor kid that moves into his neighborhood, and since they're great friends, they're on the hunt to get this kid a cure for AIDS and everything, because he has AIDS. So, really great-hearted movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. A great movie. I love this movie. And it's got the kid from, I forgot, but I'll think of it. You guys can look up his name. Anyway, guys, I got this movie this was in like the 50 cent pile. I never saw it. I picked it up. I read the back. There isn't many movies about AIDS. But I just saw that this movie was about the whole AIDS epidemic and everything, and all these people get it or something like that. I didn't really watch it. I just got it because it was like 50 cents, and it can go in my AIDS type movies. I don't know. I got The Velocity of Gary. Great movie with Selma Hayek and this guy Vincent D'Onofrio, whatever, and Thomas Jane. All I got it for is Selma Hayek. Really rare movie. It's out of print. Goes for a little bit of money. They basically play street people that are hooking. They're selling themselves to get by. They're addicted to drugs. I think a couple of them work at a strip club or something like that. Selma Hayek, him and her, and then they find out that the main guy that they rolled with on the street comes down with AIDS, and he doesn't have much long to live. It's a really good movie, a really sad movie, really hardcore movie, if I'm not mistaken. It's a good street movie about how the street is when you're addicted and having to hook and stuff. And I got Precious. This movie's about AIDS. This young girl gets treated like crap by her mother, and she finds out that she has AIDS, and at such a young age, and she's in high school. Everyone makes fun of her for being fat, and it's a really messed up, sad movie. But I like it. This is a good movie. It has a good message, though, and it made it so this girl is now she did more movies after this movie. I don't know if she's still doing movies, but I know she did a few movies after this. I also got Queen Latifah's Life Support. This was a Lifetime movie about a teacher that is HIV positive, and she teaches kids about having AIDS and everything. And I think that's what this is about. Good movie. It's based on a true story, too. So I like this movie. And the next movie I have, guys, is Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington. This one won 2 Academy Awards. Great movie, great cast. He gets fired from his job because they basically treat him differently and messed up because he has AIDS, so his body's going through all these changes at work, and they don't really understand the disease, I guess, and they pretty much kind of fire him, and it's about him suing the place before he dies. Really sad movie though, great movie though. But that's it, guys. The next movies I'm doing for my drama series, 2016 drama series, guys, is movies about overcoming obstacles continue. So I did my my disability one, mentally challenged one. I just did my cancer and HIV section. So the next section I'm going to do, guys, is people that had to overcome obstacles in their life, like Pursuit of Happiness, how he just gets dealt a bad card and he has to get back on his feet. And I have a whole pile of movies to do on that, and it'll be really good movies. I have a whole bunch of movies on that section I'm going to do. So see you guys next time, and see you next time, I guess. I don't know where the cat is, guys, but you know. Well, guys, here. I just want to show you anyway. So the next pile of movies I have is people that got, you know, they might have like one leg, like Soul Surfer. This chick is a surfer, and a shark, like, I think takes out her leg or her arm. I think her leg. And she kind of overcomes that and still is a surfer, and she's still doing her thing, even with that disability. And movies like Reign Over Me, where he's just traumatized when his wife dies in the 9/11 towers. And Pursuit of Happiness is another movie that's, you know, overcoming obstacles. So I have a whole bunch more movies, guys, and that'll be my next video series that I'm doing, is movies like that. So this will be a great drama 2016 My Collection DVD and Blu-ray videos, things that I'm doing. And trying to talk, I sound like an idiot. See you guys next time, and hope you like my video. Hey guys, it's Spy Cat, and welcome to another series of my drama movies, ones that I'm doing individually. The last video I had were my drama movies about people that had cancer or just got the news that they had a life-threatening disease and they didn't have much longer to live. And the video before that were my drama movies about the mentally disabled, people that had a mental disability, like cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, people that were mentally handicapped. So if you haven't seen those videos, check those ones out, because those are pretty good. I'm going to do this pile of movies right here the same way I did the last two, just because it's a smaller section within my drama movies. So this section right here is titled Overcoming Obstacles or Difficulties or something like that, like movies about people that have to live on the streets and they have to raise their kids on the streets, like Pursuit of Happiness. Movies about people that got attacked by a shark and they still manage to go back on the ocean and surf, like Soul Surfer. So movies along those lines, like Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting's, well, I guess we're getting it started now, guys. Good Will Hunting is basically about Matt Damon's character, who's basically this troublemaking kid. He's always breaking the law. He's too smart for his own good. He's like, just gets into trouble. And I think he goes to court, and the courts basically tell him, you're going to go to prison, or you can either get therapy, take like some anger management classes or something like that. And like, anyway, Robin Williams becomes his therapist and kind of helps him out a lot. He overcomes his obstacle or difficulty with just kind of being a smart-ass a-hole, pretty much. Next movie I have, guys, is Passion Fish, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Mary McDonald. She didn't do too many movies. She had her prime time in like the early 90s with Dances with Wolves. She had this movie, and she had Grand Canyon, and only a few other ones, but I really like her as an actress, and I don't know why she's not doing movies. Maybe she's one of those actresses that went all Christian and doesn't want to be in Hollywood or something. I don't know. But I really liked her as an actress. And Passion Fish is basically about Mary McDonald, the actress I was talking about in Dances with Wolves. She basically is a woman that got in an automobile accident, and she's all paralyzed. She can't really move her anything from the waist down, I think. So she's in a wheelchair. She can't really move, and that doesn't stop her from meeting a guy and falling in love. And this is a great movie. Like, this is kind of a forgotten about movie, but it is a great movie because she's paralyzed and she manages to, meet a guy and they fall in love, and he doesn't care that she's like paralyzed. It's a great movie about overcoming her difficulty and being half paralyzed. So have to throw this movie in the bunch. And the next movie I have is the other Mary McDonnell movie. Steve Martin, Danny Glover, Kevin Kline, just an all-star great cast. Grand Canyon is basically about Steve Martin. This movie has the best beginning just scene like ever. It's a really one of those scenes that just is going to be stuck in your head. He gets like robbed for like his wallet, and he doesn't give his wallet up, and he ends up getting like brutally, really violently shot in the beginning of the movie. And it's just like one of the best scenes of all time. I don't know why, but if you've seen Grand Canyon and you've seen that part where Steve Martin gets held up and shot, it's a really like realistic scene. Like, he acts it really good and everything, and he's basically overcoming getting shot, where he's like basically all messed up from the leg down. He's wetting his pants, and it's really, really a great movie, well acted. Next movie I have, guys, is Aviator. I seen this a while ago. I just remember that, if I recall right, Leonardo DiCaprio gets in an accident and his like legs gets burned or something, and he still doesn't let that stop him in being a pilot. You know what I mean? So great movie. I got the double disc edition. Great movie for this topic. Next movie I have, guys, is My Left Foot. My Left Foot should have been in my movies about the mentally disabled or handicapped, because this movie's about Daniel Day-Lewis. His character has cerebral palsy. He can't do anything. His body doesn't really move normally, except his left foot, and he manages to still be an artist and a writer using his one left foot, the one part of his body that still works. So, but this is, it could have been in that video, or it could have been in this one, because he kind of overcomes the cerebral palsy and everything. Next movie I have, guys, is Soul Surfer with Helen Hunt. This movie is a great movie about overcoming difficulties in your life. This Helen Hunt's daughter loves to go surfing, and one day she gets attacked by a shark, and it ends up taking her leg out or something, and she gets a amputee leg or whatever, a prosthetic leg or something like that, and she still goes out there and surfs. So great movie about overcoming difficulties. Next movie I have, guys, is Crystal. This movie is about Billy Bob Thornton's character. Just gets out of prison for getting in a domestic fight with his wife, and he ended up severely hurting her, where she's like deaf. She doesn't talk anymore. He was in prison for I think 5 or 10 years. He gets out, goes back to the old neighborhood, finds out that his ex-wife or wife is you got into drugs and everything. So he's basically trying to patch everything up. And even though she can't speak anymore, they try to patch everything up after him going to prison for that long. Great movie, by the way. Well forgotten about. Next movie I have, guys, is Dustin Hoffman's Straight Time. This movie is about a guy who spent most of his life in prison. He gets out of prison. He's dealing with the whole probation, parolee people that always try to stick you and make you go back to prison. And he's just trying to fly right, live straight, get a real job. And, he has some obstacles in the way of doing that, of course, being a parolee and everything. So Straight Time, old 70s movie. The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. The next two movies I have, both are about people who had their wives get killed. And this movie is a great movie about Robin Williams. he plays a old teacher who was in a convenience store and witnessed his wife get shot right in front of him, and it just led him to go crazy pretty much, and he's a homeless guy living on the streets. This is Robin Williams' best movie roles, I think, out of any other movie. I love this movie. This also came out in the early 90s with Dance with Wolves. So they had a lot of great movies back then in the 90s. And this was one of them. He does a fantastic job in this movie playing the homeless guy who loses his wife, and he's kind of crazy. And just a great movie. Next movie I have, guys, is also about somebody who... This movie is about Adam Sandler. His wife was also killed in the 9/11 Twin Towers. She was one of the people that lived there, and she was killed. And it sends Adam Sandler's character to go crazy. And he's just trying to put his life back together. And he's really pretty traumatized about the whole situation, and he can't get over it. He doesn't really do well publicly or in society, so he's kind of... he needs Don Cheadle's character to come and help him. He's an old friend, get back on his feet and overcome the difficulty of his wife getting killed. Next movie I have, guys, is Eric Brockovich, Julia Roberts. She's basically overcoming... I think This is going to also go in my court movies section that I have. I have like 10 or 15 movies about fighting the court system and stuff like that. So that'd be a real fun video when I do that one. But this movie's still about overcoming obstacles. She's a single mother on, just working a minimum wage job, and she manages to try to sue the place that she's suing and work 2 jobs to raise her kids on her own. So based on a true story, too. Next movie I have, guys, is Pursuit of Happiness. One of the best Will Smith and Jaden Smith movies together, like where they acted together and stuff. And this is a great movie in San Francisco, my city. This movie is great. And he just gets screwed over by the wife. I think the wife just leaves the kid for him to take care of alone right when he loses his job and doesn't have a job. And so he basically loses his house, loses everything, has to raise Jaden Smith on the streets by himself, get a job while living on the streets, going to shelter. And it's just a great movie about overcoming being dealt a messed up hand, Next movie I have, guys, is Hidden America. This movie is great. This movie has, let's see, I think, that does have Jeff Bridges in it. But this movie's about this guy whose wife is in the hospital. She has this disease, and he's trying to raise money to get her fixed and everything. The son has some other disease. The wife isn't doing well. He's just trying to work all these jobs, trying to, save money to fix his kid and fix his wife and everything like that. So, haven't watched this in a while, but it's a great movie about, same concept, overcoming obstacles, living on the streets, or he doesn't live on the streets, but he's having a hard time. Next movie I have, guys, is Homeless to Harvard with Thora Birch. I think she was the chick that, old 90s actress in my childhood. She was in, I think, Monkey Trouble and Now and Then. But this is a great movie. I used to have the biggest crush on this chick, too, when I was a kid. But Homeless to Harvard's about this girl whose parents are drug addicts. I think the mom is just a drunk alcoholic, a drug addict. So she basically had enough, the daughter, and takes the other kids on her own and just raises them on her own while she's trying to get into Harvard, while she's homeless, living on the streets. So just a great movie. This will motivate you if you're having hard times about getting a job, I'll tell you that. Because this chick does it all. And she's living on the subway. That's right, this is a great movie. Living on the train, going to Harvard, raising her siblings on her own. So great movie about overcoming obstacles. And the next pile of movies I have, guys, I think is more along the lines of, well, except this movie. So let's get into this movie first. Rudy's about a guy who basically is really short. He has a passion for playing football, except everyone makes fun of him because he's so small and short. And he basically gets on the Notre Dame football team and overcomes that obstacle of being short and being made fun of all the time. And the light just went out, but you guys could still see. And the next pile of movies I have, guys, is more focused on people that are kind of overweight, but they still manage to either get the chick in the movie or, you know, become an all-star, like, sports star, like the Babe, John Goodman. Despite him being raised in an institution, given up by his family, he manages to be one of the best baseball players in history. You know, he was an alcoholic. He had a big eating disorder in this movie too. So that's kind of rare to see that in movies, people dealing with like an eating disorder and stuff, because he like just overate to indulge in food, and then he got to drinking, and you know, he had a really messed up life, but he, despite being fat, he's the Babe, you know what I mean? So that's why I have this movie in here. And the next movie I have is The Seinfeld Dude. This is one of his first movies. Jason Alexander plays this nerd. They kind of say he's fat in this movie, but he doesn't seem fat. You know, but he's short and stocky, I guess. And he's just a dork. And he manages to get the pretty Italian girl in this movie. And this is a great movie. It's out of print. Really hard to find this movie. But I love this movie. This is like the motivation dating movie. If you're like, oh, I can't get a chick, watch this movie. This movie will be like, oh, Jason Alexander did, you know. It's a great movie, though. I Don't Buy Kisses Anymore. Just a great movie. I mean, these are great movies. I love this movie. Totally out of print, though. Next movie I have is the same thing. About a fat guy trying to get a chick that's way out of his league. And he's, like, glued to his mother. You know, so he's just, you know, despite being fat, he manages to get this chick. But the chick in this movie is really annoying. And she's like I couldn't deal with her. But next movie I have is Heavy. Another movie, I think, about dealing with overeating and being heavy. Not overeating, but dealing with somebody that's big, and despite them being big, they still find true love and everything like that, and yada, yada, yada. And the last movie I have, guys, is another movie about a big guy getting a chick out of his leagues. I mean, it's this guy. He's in Curb Your Enthusiasm, trying to get Sarah Silverman. And, you know, he wins her, I think, at the end of the movie. He actually gets her. So that's cool. Motivation. Overcoming difficulties, guys. And that's it. I don't know what the next video is going to be, guys. But it'll be some kind of drama. I think it might be my gangster flicks or something like that. We'll find out, guys. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And see you next time.